Hello, everyone. Welcome to Martine's Musings podcast. I'm your host, Martine Pelton, and today I have DeVera Henderson, and she is an astrologer and soul alignment coach. Welcome to the podcast, DeVera.
Thank you so much, Martine, for having me.
Of course. I mean, we met on Clubhouse, right? And it was such
Yes.
a fluke how we met because I just randomly I saw this room. I knew that I wanted to start doing rooms in Clubhouse, and I was like, I need to find like a someone to do something with, create some content or something with, because I didn't feel like I could moderate a room by myself. So that's how we met in a co-mod kind of matching room, and it was fun.
It
And
was.
I've met so many people between podcasting groups, clubhouse. It's really been like an amazing journey meeting all of these different people on the internet, basically, and so many like-minded people on the
Yeah.
internet. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
So let's talk about astrology.
My favorite subject.
I know it is. I know you love what you do, and it shows. So that's why I felt like you would be like the best person to co-mod rooms with. And yeah, let's talk about astrology. How did you get into astrology?
Oh, so that is actually an interesting part of my journey. I was visiting my mother like right around the time I was getting out of college. It's like 2013. And there was this, she had an astrology book. I never knew. She had it for like 10 years or something. And I would always walk by it, never paid attention to it. This one day I was just walking by it and I just felt something, spirit, something was just like, look. And I was like, oh, okay. I looked at it, full eye contact. I'm like, okay, this is a thing. And I'm like, let me just check this out. And it
Mhm.
was like coming back home, like just this is so powerful. I got obsessed with it. I would meet people and be like, they're like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, yeah, what's your sign? I just became obsessed with astrology because it was such a like I'd never seen anything like it before. Like I'm extremely Capricorn, as you know, and
Right.
so always doing like personality tests and like disc. It didn't matter what it was, but having astrology, it was like the ultimate personality test, and I just became like, oh my gosh, I have to know more about this. I want to know more about it. Help me to understand myself. Help me to understand other people. And
Mhm.
so many branches of it. So that was really kind of like my first foray into it. It literally just fell into my lap, so to say. But we know there's no such thing as coincidences. So,
Right. Everything happens for a reason. And did you
yes.
think that what you learned in the astrology books about certain zodiac signs, did they actually align with that person?
Yes, it was almost. I know a lot of people will, like, when they first get into astrology, they'll say things like, oh, this is eerie, like how
Hmm.
accurate this is. But for me, that I think that's what kind of drove me further, like just how uncanny it was. But it I started to realize, and that's what actually prompted me to want to study it more and to dive into it, because it started with the book, and then next thing you know, I'm in courses, I'm in different groups, I'm meeting people because I wanted to learn more about this. Really, what felt like a science to me, because there's something to as above, so below,
Right.
and how it impacts us. And so, as I kept studying more and more, I realized that it's more to it than just like your sun sign or even your big three. Your moon and your rising sign and all of that. I mean, every piece of your chart is like a letter that's giving you a sentence that's part of a bigger sentence, and it's just more and more and more. So the deeper you go, the more, if you have the right timing, the more accurate it will get. So that was actually a pretty fascinating part of it. And that's what I noticed the more and more I did it. It's like, oh, wow. Because you, as yourself, an astrologer, the more you do it, you get better at it. And then
Right.
the more you read it, the more it's like,
Hmm.
oh, that's how you could tie that to a life situation happening right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you took that to a professional level. Obviously, you have active clients and and coaching clients and things of that nature. When did you take your interest and turn it into your passion in your business?
So that's the funny part.
Hmm.
You would think that I would have started this back in 2013. But interestingly enough, I actually got into this as part of something that I started doing in 2020. Because
Okay.
as much as I loved astrology, I was still running on what I later came to find out in my own practice and what I do for clients is I was running on what I call ego scripts. And these are the scripts that we learn in early childhood about what's right or what's wrong in the world and how we tend to see life from our own experiences and everything
Hmm.
else just kind of different or other. And
Right.
so for me, I came from a very heavily Christian background. And so when I got astrology, I'm like, yeah, this is the best thing ever. And then I got saved and had, what people might call the burning
Hmm.
or being saved in that sense. And what I later found out was just my heart chakra opening up.
Right.
But I took that to a whole new level. I got more into the Bible. I started reading things about like how bad astrology was and
Oh,
witchcraft and this third. So I didn't quite rage quit it, but I stopped. I just kind of
yeah.
stopped. And I'm like, yeah, I was at a point in my life where I was transitioning careers. I was getting out of just like general IT and going into cybersecurity. So it was like, let me put that on hold and just focus on my career. So for about those 7 years, I was just focused on getting my degree, getting a job, the
Hmm.
American status quo, go to school, get a good
Yes.
job. you
Yeah.
know? And I put it on hold. But what actually prompted me to get back into it was actually the kickoff of my spiritual journey, which was prompted by me having a series of just dark night of the soul symptoms that
Hmm.
resulted in me having a year-long depression. 2016, barely remember it because it was just such a bad year. And I had actually inadvertently messed up my
Hmm.
brain chemistry. Serotonin, nope. Dopamine, acetylcholine, nothing. I was just a mess. And I ended up
Wow.
having to, yeah, it was terrible. So I ended up having to get some therapy because I was just in such a state. And during that process, I learned how to meditate. And that's when I had a second awakening. And actually, Kundalini Rising, I finally opened up my crown chakra. And that's
Wow.
the first time I realized that I'm a healer. It's like it just hit. I'm a healer. I didn't know how I was meant to heal or what that looked like or who I was supposed to do it for. I just knew that. And then as I kept growing spiritually and learning and finally just took that leap of faith and quit my job, I was able to finally just focus on myself, that inner knowing, and realize that I used to always ask myself this question, like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I like follow through on the things I want to do or get these intentions done? Or why am I so scared to do these things and won't do
Hmm.
it? And I finally got to the point where I realized that, well, we all do that. There's
Right.
something in us that doesn't agree with our intentions. And it was realized that like people wake up, nobody wakes up and goes, man, it'd be great to, you know, be like 200 pounds extra than I was last year. Like nobody does that, but it happens. And I
Hmm.
wanted to figure out, why does that happen? Why do we do those things? And that's when I started to really work on the spiritual side of things and understanding like the layers of ourselves and
Yeah.
how we hold energy and how we hold subconscious patterns and how we hold ego scripts in our sympathetic nervous system and how
Hmm.
all of these influence our ability to move our conscious thoughts forward. So doing the spiritual work led me full circle back to astrology. And I actually ended up in some magical communities where I was able to start helping people with my astrology gifts. And then it was just like, oh, that's what I should be doing.
Yep.
Helping
This
people get in
this thing
alignment.
from way back when. You see
Yes.
how spirit moves things around, like moves things
Yes.
around. Like you'll get introduced to something, right? Like
Way before you meet.
way before you even need it or you even realize that it's a thing, and you're like, oh,
Yes.
that's what that was for.
Yes.
Amazing. You mentioned your Kundalini awakening. Now, I am very, very curious about that because I've been recent. It's so coincidental. Well, it's not a coincidence because nothing is a coincidence. But for the past couple of days, I've been watching YouTube videos on Kundalini awakenings.
Ooh.
I I'm just so curious because people talk about it being like this experience of your chakras opening up and it being at the base of your spine and coiling all the way up through the crown. And how does that feel? Like, what is that all about?
Well, for me, since my experience was completely unplanned, I didn't even know what Kundalini was at the time it happened.
Okay.
So it actually felt quite amazing because I had been meditating consistently for about 60 days at that point,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden, like usually the meditation, it would just feel great. Like I'm like, yes, Zen, I feel so peaceful, I just feel good. But
Mm-hmm.
then out of nowhere, I just started feeling really hot, really nauseous, and just like, ugh, like what is happening to me? And I
Okay.
thought it was a fluke. And then I meditated another morning, happened again. And then I was like, okay, let me not meditate in the morning, let me meditate after work so I can, feel through this. I knew I was purging energy, but I was just like, oh, okay. But on
Mm-hmm.
that third day, when I sat longer than I usually did, it was just like all that heat and pressure and nausea just kind of pushed into itself, and I could hear my aura. Like it was just like whoosh in the background, and then
Wow.
all of a sudden it's just like this powerful force just like drove itself right up my spine, out the top of my head. And when it got out of my crown, I was just like, oh, I can breathe again. Like it was just amazing. And then that energy just like poured down my arms and into my hands. And that's
Mm-hmm.
how I knew that I was called to healing. So I was like, oh, okay. Because I did some research later because I didn't know what was happening. I just knew, like, I'm glad I don't feel hot and nauseous anymore. But then I realized the significance of what actually happened later
Right.
on. Yeah.
That's amazing. And it's because I've been, like I said, I've been seeing, videos on Kundalini awakenings and just hearing it here and there on podcasts. And I never really knew what it was. I meditate too, but people were always saying, like, once you have that Kundalini awakening, um, then it's like a surge of energy, and you're like,
Yes.
so, and you've arrived and all of this stuff. Hey, Desiree. I'm sorry. Would love a message on what my guys might want me to know or hear, please. Sure. We will. We're probably going to get to that after me and DeVera do our little interview. Yeah. So yeah, Kundalini awakenings are something that really, really interests me. And so, wow. Now I'm like, oh, I want to experience that.
Oh, I have a secret to how you can figure out your particular awakening.
How?
So what I found is wherever you have Neptune in your chart, or either your 12th house,
Yeah.
whatever sign is falling on that, or whatever sign Neptune is in, that'll give you a clue. And for me, that was with my Mercury in the 12th house, meditation, clearing my mind. That's what triggered it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do the same kind of trick. Like look either where Neptune is falling or what's on your 12th house and what's in it. And that can help you to start that process of just do things that'll help you there. So like if, for example, if you had
I think my Neptune is in Sagittarius.
oh yes, so there teaching, learning is going to be a big part of what's going to trigger that for you.
Okay. Because I have about 6 Sagittarius placements, honestly.
Yes, the learning, expanding your horizons, and especially in spiritual things too, like
Hmm.
different modalities,
Yes.
that, all that.
Mm, interesting. So, so now that you work professionally as an astrologer,
Mhm.
what is typically your day like, the day in the life of a professional astrologer?
So I have my whole little morning routine. I can show you, it's crazy. But my typical day begins with looking at the weather, seeing what's going on, so I know what's going to go on for me, what's going to go on
Hmm.
for any clients. So that way I'm showing up in a way that I'm utilizing the energy and not working against it and sabotaging myself or my clients. And then how I like to do that is just then pace it out with usually I only work on Tuesdays through Fridays because Monday is my planning day. And
Right.
so I try to do no more than 2 to 3 readings a day, or like work big client work a day because
Hmm.
it takes a lot of energy. Like
Hmm.
with astrology, it's something that when you work with people that you know and you work with a lot, it's okay, but it's still a lot of energy because I'm not just like reading for them, I'm also holding space as a coach. So I
Yeah.
have to really protect my energy. So there's a lot of energy work, there's a lot of making sure my chakras are in alignment.
Hmm.
And then when I do that, I just, take my clients, have fun, get in Clubhouse. I love being in there, do
Yeah.
some speed reading rooms sometimes and having more discussion. I'm actually building some more rooms up in there. So I have more time now with some
Hmm.
products that I'm having in order. But that's pretty much my typical day. It's just getting up, get in alignment, know what's coming, look at what's coming for my folks, and then hold space for them so that we can talk through it and get them to the next step. And
Right.
using what I call my soul alignment framework to really just get them through that.
That's very interesting. And you also, when you read um, the charts, I should say, you do it intuitively as well, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay. Okay. So that's really important to keep your chakras aligned and all of that. Have a practice,
Yes.
and then your intuition is really strong, I would imagine.
Yeah, because the more I was able to tap into it and start paying attention to it, because
Hmm.
again, my Neptune is in the 11th house, which is usually what's associated with astrology. So I actually use my astrology for intuitive purposes and breakthroughs. So it all just kind of ties into each other.
Right, right, right. So, question for you: what would be your favorite zodiac sign?
Capricorn, naturally.
I mean, aside from Capricorn.
Oh, that's a toughie. I would have to say that I am very partial to Neptune, or I should say Pisces, which is ruled
Oh,
by Neptune.
all right.
It's such a misunderstood sign, and a lot of
Or,
folks think of Pisces, it rules the 12th house naturally. They think, oh gosh, that's the bad house. I don't want any planets in that house. But it's such a fascinating sign to me because I used to think like that too when I first learned astrology. That's what all the books said and the teachers and stuff like that. But as I've been going forward, I've come to find that I kind of swapped it with the first house in a sense because
mhm,
people think of the first house, they think I am. But when I think of the first house, I think I'm DeVera. You know,
right.
that I'm the ego. The
Hmm.
12th house is the collective consciousness, source, the universe, God, goddess,
Hmm.
however you see that, and the
Yes.
connection we
Very
make.
watery, emotional.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes, yes, yes. And that's why it's so psychic because, sure, naturally things can happen like self undoing and stuff like that, but it's only because when we are not in touch with our spirit, when we're not able to pay attention to that guidance we're always receiving, naturally we're going to have bad days and sometimes bad lives, unfortunately, because we're not able to make that connection that this is where the guidance is coming from. So we have to be able to pay attention and hear that. And so that's part of what the Kundalini helps you to do is like to get
Yeah.
that kind of clarity flow. Like I get the idea, but then a lot of people don't do part two, which is creator flow. Can I
Right.
manifest that idea?
Right. Yes. I love that. So let's see here. There, I've got some comments here. Hey, Dawn. Um, oh yeah, Desiree would like to do a natal chart reading if we can get
Yeah.
that started for her. She says she's a Libra sun, Pisces moon, Pisces rising. Yeah.
Ooh, lots of
But
Pisces.
you need her birth date and time, right? Or
Yeah, take time and location.
Desiree, if you're there, my dear, give us your date, birth date, time, and location. Hmm. These Facebook comments take a
A little
minute
bit.
to pop up. Yeah,
Oh,
Facebook does. Do you see the comments on your end? Or
I
no?
do. They pop up
Okay.
on the screen for a little bit for me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's me clicking on it. There you go. There's hers.
Okay. You get all that in. Oops. I love these apps, but I wish they were a bit faster sometimes.
It's okay. We got time. Can I get a reading? I'm a Cancer from Texas. So if you, oh, okay. Sure, Ava. DeVera is doing someone right now. She's doing Desiree right now, and then we'll get to you, Ava.
Got it. Okay. So, Desiree, did you have a question for me about your chart?
What's your question? Is it about, well, she had a question up top here. Is
Oh, perfect.
would love a message on what my guides might want me to know or hear, please. Well, can you?
That I would actually do a Horaria chart for, just to kind of pull the question in the
Okay.
moment.
Well,
Yeah.
let's ask her if she has a question because she might have a question. Desiree, do you have a question that you want to ask her about your chart? Meanwhile, hello, Facebook user. I wonder who that is. If you want me to see your name, you have to click on the StreamYard link at the top. Okay, Desiree's back. She says, where is my Neptune?
All right. Your Neptune is going to be in the 10th house, which is ruled by Sagittarius, but it's in the sign of Capricorn. So your Neptune is going to have a lot to do with your career, or more what I tend to call your great work. You know, what kind of thing you came here to accomplish in life. And with it being related to Sagittarius, in this case, this is going to call you to expand yourself. Sometimes that could be writing, authorship, faith ministries, things that really help to build a collective. And because it's in the sign of Capricorn, it wants you to be in alignment with that. So anything that's going to help you stay attuned with what your spirit came here to build.
Hmm, that's interesting. Let us know what you thought of that, Desiree. Maybe I should try to bring people on, but I'm sure people don't want to be on video.
I know it's the age of audio.
I know, I know. Okay, so there was someone else that wanted a reading, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, Ava. She says, I'm a Cancer from Texas. Oh, okay, that wasn't it. Ava says, Desiree says, I find that interesting as well. How, how do I know where I need to go?
So, where you need to go, as in looking at the chart itself, whoops. um,
Oh,
you, if you learn the different symbols, you're, oh gosh, that, can you see that? That looks too bright to me.
yeah, it looks kind of bright.
Yeah, okay. Darn, I wish I could post it. But when you're looking at your horoscope, you'll sometimes see little numbers around. So what you want to do is look for the sigil for Jupiter. It looks like a little pitchfork. I'm sorry, for Neptune. It looks like a little pitchfork with a little line under it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the symbol you want to look for. And how you find it is just in the house that it's in, you look at whatever little space it's in, and that'll tell you the house that it's in.
Okay. And also, if you don't mind, should we tell them it's Time Passages app, right?
Yes, time passes. You can get it for free. Look at your own horoscope.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't want to download the app, you can also use astro-charts.com to get your
Okay.
horoscope as well.
Okay. So, oh yeah, we have Ava. Let's see. She 10, 10 a.m. in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We need the date, Ava. We need the date, time, and place. If
me
you
skip
could
that.
send that. You're welcome, Desiree. Okay, thank you. So can we do this with all placements in our chart to see what we are here to do or work on?
So when it comes to what you're here to do and work on, there's really three main areas that I look at. The first being, where is your north node? And it looks like an upside
Mhm.
down horseshoe. And that tells you what your spirit incarnated here in order to experience. So for me personally, my north node is in the 12th house and it's in the sign of Aquarius, but Capricorn is on the what rules my 12th house. So for me, my mission, soul mission, is to get as many people in aligned with their spiritual missions as possible.
I
So
think that's what Desiree wants to know too, what her soul mission is, what she is supposed to do here. So
gotcha.
if
Okay,
I think I got that right, right, Desiree?
then I was putting Ava's information in here.
You're welcome.
Okay, perfect. So let me go back to Desiree. Okay, so let me just give you a quick
Do you need
breakdown.
do you need her stuff again or no?
Oh no, I have her chart still up.
Oh,
Okay, so Desiree, your chart in your first house, which represents yourself, your authentic ego self, like who you are here to be as, that's where your north node falls. And it's actually in the sign of Aries, even though your first house, your rising sign, is actually Pisces.
mm,
So with Pisces rising, there's that need to have that oneness, connectivity, and with your north node there, your mission in this case, I'm seeing it, especially because you have Jupiter and the moon in your sign as well, is to expand yourself and to use your intuition and natural psychic gifts by helping people in a way that helps them express their individuality, just like you are.
mm, that's what
And
she's doing.
hey, you line
Right,
up with it
right?
amazingly.
That is so on point. Wow.
Yes. And then remember, I mentioned that Sagittarius on your 10th house? That's the second place I look because that tells you how to do that, the context around how. And so, since you have Sagittarius on the first house and the ruler of Sagittarius is Jupiter, which is in your first house, that need
Oh no. DeVera. Okay, guys, we lost DeVera, but I'm sure she'll be back. Okay. And yes, hey, Desiree, it is. I'm already doing it. Wow. See, yeah, that's what I said. I was like, that is exactly what she's doing. Oh, okay. We got action. She's back.
back.
It's okay.
I was like getting into this, like, boop. I'm like,
I
oh,
know. Spirit was like, hold on.
all right, we are back in action. So,
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that you heard, but
No,
um,
it, yeah, we heard like you, when you finished your sentence, then it just went out.
oh, okay, okay. So, just
Right. Desiree says it is. I'm already doing it. Wow. Thank you. Yeah.
nice. Yep, that alignment makes a
Yep.
difference.
So we have Ava's stuff here. She put it in there.
Oh, okay. Let's get her
Thank
stuff
you,
in
Desiree.
here.
I hope, thank you for joining us and thank you for joining in, tuning in.
Yes, and share it with us. Let's see. Ava, edit here.
Okay, please confirm that.
Do.
What if you don't know?
Oh, 10 a.m. baby. I was born around 10 to myself. Well, close to 11. Okay. Ava, I've got your chart up. So, oh, most of your planets are on the lower left hand side of your chart.
What does that mean?
So, typically, that denotes a life that's going to be kind of very spiritual, but also at the same time, there's more of her planets. Actually, it's pretty evenly split. So when you see more of like the left hand side of the chart, it's more spiritual activity, but also things that are going to be more focused on finding yourself and making your mark in the world in a way that's going to align you with what you came here to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really interesting. I've not seen one like that for a while. Okay,
Oh,
so
she does. She did have a question. I'm sorry.
oh,
She says, I want to know, here it is. I want to know what I need to do in regards to my career in television writing. Ooh, that sounds nice.
it's a juicy question. I love
Yes.
that.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Well, my dear, with a Gemini 10th house, that is right up your alley, literally. Television writing. And also, you have a little bit of Cancer leading into that house as well. So, Cancer calls us to look at ourselves and to nourish ourselves, to build the foundation so that we can actually manifest in the world. And with your Cancer having your Sun, your South Node, and Chiron, there's a lot of room here for growth. Wherever the Sun is actually the third piece that I look at when I do a chart to assess like what you're here to do, and that's really like what drives us. Like that's that big why. You know what really motivates us and where we feel joy. And so, being in the 11th house, your career needs to be one that's going to give you that ability to probably work on your own, be independent worker, but also at the same token, it needs to be something that gives you the ability to be around like-minded souls, like that community vibe. And
Mm-hmm.
with Chiron there, Chiron in Cancer sometimes shows up as not being able to connect with others as well. Sometimes it might be that we don't allow ourselves to rest and to recuperate and to rejuvenate. And so, any career that you have with your writing, yeah, exactly. And so when you have that drive, that mega drive to just expand and to do something bigger than yourself, we have to take rest. And so any part of your writing career where you are going to be, out there making things happen, we're going to have to make time to rest. You're going to have to make time to be with your community, to be with your friends, to be supported. But at the same token, to not feel like, you have to hold yourself back to appease anyone. So self-care and likely probably contract or self-employed work is what I would look at as far as your writing career goes. Does that resonate so far? It's August. Well, let me take a look at your transits. Whoops. I'm just going to pull them up for today. Let's see. 10th house action. Nothing's currently in your 10th house at the moment. However, since Gemini rules your 10th house and Gemini is ruled by Mercury, your transiting Mercury is currently in Leo in the 12th house. So, what we can expect there is some guidance from your guides, from some spiritual guidance, and really make sure that you're taking some time to clear your energy so that you can get those messages and hear them and act on them, because that's going to be helping to lead you up into your career. You also have your Sun and your Mars there as well. And Mars being in Virgo is asking, you know, what kind of service or value am I providing? And so that value needs to turn inward. How am I elevating myself so that I can hear what I need to hear or get those insights and downloads to make a difference? And then with your Sun, how are you setting your intentions? Are these intentions going to be something that's going to help you stand out in a way that makes you elevate yourself in a spiritual manner? Because right now, that inner work is what's going to set you up for your career coming up.
Mm. She did say, she said that your this, it resonated when you said it. Hope it resonates. So sounds like,
Hey,
it was on the right path. So.
you are. You are. If you had some transitions right now going to your 10th house, you would be noticing that a lot. But
Hmm.
for this August, so far, it looks like it's going to be pretty calm. Just focus on inner work so that you'll have the voice to speak with your writing. You're developing your muse right now. So when you get more gigs or whatever it is that you do, or when opportunities show up, you'll be able to just jump on them with a lot of ease and flow.
Hmm. Cool. Another person asked, "Do what if they don't know what time they were born? Is that the what if they don't know the time?"
Okay, so astrology is tricky that way. There's a technique that I haven't learned yet that you can actually use certain life events to kind of piece back when you were born at the time, but I'm
Okay.
not going to pretend I'm an expert in something I'm
All
not.
right. Okay. So you can't finagle that. Okay.
But I do have a backup plan. And that is if you have a specific question or intention, I can make a chart for that right quick, and then give you some insights into what's maybe going on that way, if you'd like.
Okay. Okay. If you heard that, lovable, if you have a certain question that you have, type that in the comments. And I'm going to move on to Sierra Jewel.
Oh, she's ready for me.
Yeah, she's ready. That's my daughter.
Oh, hello, Sarah. Let's see, let me get her in here.
Hi, Ava. Yeah, we have to keep the readings short. Um, but if you want DeVera to pull like a full personal, a full chart, personal chart, you can contact her after the live, right, DeVera?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
And I'll be happy to help. Let's see. Let's All right, Scorpio. Nice. Okay. So, message about your career, just general. Okay, let's talk career. So, ooh, you have a fun chart. I love it when I see interceptions in charts. So, what an interception is when a sign is completely within one house. So, Aries is intercepted in your 10th house. So, that calls for a career that's going to allow you to be an individual, that's going to allow you to be authentic yourself. You're marching to the beat of your own drum. And with Pisces on your 10th house, Pisces loves music, it loves to be intuitive, it loves dance, a lot of creative energy there, and especially something that you channel from inside yourself and bring out into the world. And then with Saturn being in there as well, that's even more interesting because Saturn is in Aries. So having a career that's going to allow you to build something over time with experience. And typically, wherever you see Saturn, Saturn can sometimes deal with business a lot of times, but it can also deal with getting yourself into alignment. And just let me check which one that is. So, Capricorn, Saturn's, what Saturn rules, the sign Saturn rules, is on your seventh house. And with your seventh house, um, being about relationships, connection. Again, could potentially be business connections because Capricorn really loves that business and making stuff happen. With you also having Neptune there, a creative business that helps you to connect with others, to bridge those gaps, to help people to expand in spirituality, but also at your same time being yourself. That is what I see the career for you. Does that resonate so far?
It probably will. Oh my God, that was so. Oh my gosh, astrology. I don't know much. I'm learning, but the more and more I learn, the more I'm like, oh my God.
Every time.
I
Every time.
I have a question for you at the end once
Oh
everybody
yeah.
goes from my chart because Ciara, let us know if that resonated because I really, but we can do that after. Want to know if about my soul lessons.
So you're talking some South
Yeah,
Node
she's like, yeah,
stuff.
yes, that resonates so much. I knew it would. So, here's another question for the person that didn't know her birth time. So, she
Oh,
says,
okay.
will my finances get better soon and when?
Boom. So
Do you
I'm
need her name?
um I do not well I would like
What
another name. I don't wanna
her name is Aisha.
Aisha. Okay. Aisha, I'm gonna pull a this is called a horary chart. So I'm pulling a chart for your question, not for your birth. Because with the astrology charts, they need to be about within 4 minutes of your actual birth time in order for me to pull a natal chart for you. But that's why we have a backup. So we can get you some
Mhm.
answers. Okay, so when we think of finances, there's really two big houses when that comes to that. And that is going to be your second house and your third house. I'm sorry, your second house and your eighth house. Your second house is how you generate income, and then your eighth house is the way that you. Ooh, we have something special here, actually. The eighth house is money that you inherit or like win or things like that. So, what I just noticed, though, actually, is with the chart I pulled, your question is at a special degree. When I do a horary chart, there's a few degree signs where there's a factor that's going to kind of interfere with this question a little bit. And right now, the ascendant is in Pisces, but it's at 0 degrees. So, usually between 0 and 2 degrees for a horary question, that means that there are some factors that you haven't quite found out about, or there's something that you don't know about yet that's going to influence this answer. So, I can give you some kind of general vibes around it, but as far as the reading goes, there's something that you need to learn about before this question can really get fleshed out for you. But to answer your question, right now in the second house, um, that's we're going to start where your ability to generate finances. Mars is on there right now, so that intention for yourself to generate income is really heavy for you. And Mars right now currently has Chiron. Chiron is known as the wounded healer, and so wherever we see Chiron pop up in a chart, that's typically where we are going to have some kind of wound, so to say. It could be emotional, it could be physical, but in this case, with Chiron and Aries, Aries represents the self, the ego. So in this case, self wound, typically self doubt, imposter syndrome, things like that. So
Mhm.
that might be something that's popping up right now for you is, can I even make money? And that's one of the things that tends to get a lot of us when we're moving towards those financial questions. And also in the second house, you have the planet Uranus, which is in the sign of Taurus. And so Taurus again has is a natural ruler of the second house. It deals with our ability to generate income and make money. And so when we have Uranus anywhere, we start to see kind of changes suddenly. That could be either sudden income boost or financial changes basically on the horizon. So again, just because this chart is a little bit unknown, you have some unknown factors. That's what I would recommend just looking out for. Like, work on believing in your capability of generating income on your own, maybe as a profession, but also expect some opportunities to come up right now. So
Mm.
there are opportunities coming, and especially because you have in your house, in the second house, Chiron talking to your South Node or talking to your 10th house. So, what's going to make your career better at this point, just in general vibe, is to work on getting that belief that you have the capability of doing it. Whether you need to learn something, get a certain skill set, or deal with a different crowd. I can't give you the exact answer to that, but it's going to be with you. Yeah.
Okay.
Does that resonate so far?
Well, she said it's interesting. That was her.
Mm.
Um, so, and Ciara said yes. Your previous reading for Ciara said that resonates so much, um, especially because of her blog.
Blog, yes. The ability to be creative and do that your own way.
Yes, and Aisha says yes. Thank you. It does resonate.
You're welcome.
So that was awesome. I mean, if there's anyone else in the comments that would um, want to pull their chart and get a mini reading, we would need your birth date and time and place.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I would like for you to pull my chart and talk about my soul lessons, because I feel like, because I know my south node is in Leo,
Same.
and I don't like Leos really. Like, I'll have to tell you, I have a hmm. I you know. So
It's something.
yes, there's something there between me and these Leos. So no one's said anything yet. So I guess you can pull my chart in. So
Go
let
for it.
me give you my information. Do you see the? I can send it to you in the private chat.
Private chat. Oh. Okay. Make sure we have that
Wait,
open.
wait, wait. That's
Oops.
Are you on your phone?
Yeah, I'm on my tablet.
Okay. Here you go.
Okay, there it is. In one moment. Okay. So you want to know a bit more about your South Node.
Yeah, is that where the soul lessons, where you learn about your soul lessons and the lessons that you're here to learn?
Um, the lessons that you're here to learn, I usually associate that with the North Node
Oh,
because yeah, that's our soul mission. With the South Node, that's what we are naturally gifted at. Like when it comes to that, you just do it without effort. It's easy. You can make it happen. And the issue that a lot of us have when we come here is that we tend to, when we're operating kind of on our default ego scripts, we
mm-hmm.
try to do what gives us the best chance of survival, hence the thing we're good at. And we
Right.
try to let that be our purpose, but oftentimes that's not the purpose. It's what we came here to do spiritually. And so
Okay.
um, your North Node is actually in the 12th house. In, oh, and, oh no, it's not intersected. Just about was, but it's not. But your North Node is in Aquarius,
Mm-hmm.
in the 12th house, ruled by Capricorn. So you actually have a very similar mission to mine, and that is to help people elevate to their highest levels by
Mm-hmm.
getting into alignment with their spiritual mission.
Mm.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. But what about, what about my ego? Because I know that Aries, I'm an Aries moon, which the moon is kind of about your emotions, right?
Um, yep. Or in this case, when it comes to moon emotions, yeah, like just kind of like in general. But
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to like what you're feeling, that's more so like you're going to be your Venus. in a sense.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Okay.
particularly good feelings.
Yeah, yeah. I really would just love to know like how my ego plays a part. Like because sometimes like right now I'm going through like I know my ego is stepping forward a little too much right now. And I keep telling her to shut the hell up and
But she ain't listening.
she's not listening to me. And I remember you just said like ego Aries represents kind of like your ego or whatever. And
Yeah.
I know that I'm an Aries moon.
And when you're an Aries moon, your feelings tend to resonate a lot with what you are seeing the world as, what's vibing
Hmm.
with you and what's not vibing with you.
Yes.
And
And that can change at any given moment. And that's what I have a problem with.
gotcha. So I'm going to actually take a look at your transits, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. So I'm going to look at where your transiting Aries is, as well as your transiting, or Mars is, I should say. Ooh, I know what it is. Right now, you are actually having a bit of a Chiron return. And remember how I talked about how Chiron is kind of
The,
the
the
wounded
wounded
healer
healer,
in
the
your life?
Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. So your Chiron is actually in its natal house, your first house.
Hmm.
So it's not conjuncting right now, but your Chiron, which is in your first house, is currently trining your natal Jupiter, and then it's also trining your midheaven, so your career. So um, it's trining your ability to, and trines are typically very easy, very flowing, so you don't have to worry about that. But when Chiron is in your first house, it tends to get a bit reckless because we start to doubt ourselves. We start to wonder if am I being authentic? Like who am I? What am I here to do? Like
Hmm.
how does this all fit in? And so sometimes it might feel like your ego is going haywire, and it could be because there might be a need to overcompensate. Like when we have Chiron somewhere, we either do one of three things: fight, flight, or freeze.
Mm,
So
okay.
sometimes that can be analysis by paralysis, like you don't know what to do, you're just kind of stuck.
Hmm.
Sometimes that can be like, oh, avoid it, nope, procrastinate because you don't, you're flying away from it. And then
Right.
sometimes that can be the fight for it, like, oh, that, and that's where you might feel aggressive because it's like, what's going on. But
Yeah, I do feel a little more aggressive than I usually am, and across across the board right now, work, home, everything. I just
mm,
and I am feeling like the wounded healer, like like I'm feeling like I'm so tired and I'm annoyed.
yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Chiron can be very draining when it's
Hmm.
in the first house because it's yourself. It's the energy you have to deal with life. It's
Hmm.
the way that you're seeing life, the way that life sometimes feels like it's seeing you, because the ascendant is typically how the world views us. And so it can feel like everything's just out to just tick you off today.
Yes. Oh my God, that is so on point. When is this energy going to leave me? When is it going to transit on out?
Okay, so Chiron is going to be in your house for a little while yet.
What's a little while?
Oh, maybe some months. Probably not going to leave until the end of this year, if not a
Oh
little
my
while
God. Okay.
later.
All
So,
right. I'm gonna have to work with Kyron then.
Chiron, it wants to be your friend because what it's doing, I know that sounds like a complete lie, but it's here
Hi,
to help.
Nikki.
It's here to help us to open up and allow ourselves to develop compassion in a certain area. And when we feel a lot of energy coming at ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
it's we're kind of trying to say like, maybe you should slow down, you know, or maybe there's some energy we need to let go, you know, so
Yes.
that it doesn't feel like everything's hammering you. Because,
Hmm.
you know, if you've got the fight response going on, it's like, okay, what's happening in your life right now? And considering that you have an aspect, Chiron is talking to some things in your chart. Where is it? It ran away from me. Well, Chiron is getting ready and is talking to your 10th house. And also, it recently was making a trine with your sun. And your sun is typically your conscious mind. So, where, you know, you're going to really start to notice these first house issues. So, that transit is kind of starting to separate right now. So, it will feel a little bit less as time goes on.
Hmm.
But while Chiron is in your first house, because you natally actually have Chiron in your first house, while it's in there, it's like extra for you. Because Chiron's currently in my first house as well, but it's been more of a, okay, ooh, I don't like this, fix that, do this thing. But for you, it's like a lot of energy all at once
Hmm.
right now. And so, what really is going to help that is when you are able to look at what's happening and ask yourself, what needs to change? What needs to change as far as in what I'm doing is, and specifically with your great work. Actually, that one already happened, so that's a fading one. But right now, Chiron was recently talking to your Jupiter. So it's asking you what needs to expand. And then it's lightly talking to sextiling, or Saturn was sextiling Chiron. And so Saturn is asking you to reprioritize some things that maybe aren't resonating with you anymore. They're out of alignment. And when you
Right.
have that out of alignment and Chiron mixing together, Saturn's
Hmm.
not playing any games with that. It wants you to get it out now.
Right. Right.
So,
Right. Right.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, anything that's not resonating with yourself anymore,
Hmm.
it's gotta go.
Okay. Because
And
I started a 21 day tapping.
ah ha ha ha, yes, that is the perfect thing to do.
Yes, I felt like it was. I really
Yes,
felt like it was, and I'm on day 3. And I today I felt better than yesterday because I did my tapping this morning after my meditation, and then I felt good. But I did
yes,
notice the shift in my energy, and I really felt it was a lot of ego. Like I had to speak to my, like, kind of talk myself off the ledge and say, okay, Martine, don't, you know what I mean? It's
mm-hmm.
okay. All right. And I used to, I was just telling my ego, just sit down. It's going to be fine.
Fine. Yes,
Especially when it comes to my job, like my 9 to 5 job. I am, I am very, like, how do I want to say, stressed, not stressed out about it, but I am out of alignment in that job. Like
yes,
I don't belong there. And it's like really irritating me on a day-to-day
yes,
basis.
yes, yes, yes. And that feeling, it's yucky. It's very similar. When I was leaving my job, my final job, I was
Hmm.
very much like, my alarm went off. I have to wake up today and go to this place.
And it would make you feel like physically ill, right? So, oh my God.
And looking back at it now, it's like, you know, I still love what their mission was and, you know, what they were doing. It's just that wasn't for me at the moment. And just everything. It's like somebody's like, "Hi, how's your day?" And it's like, "Ah, screw you too." It's just, it's like, it doesn't matter what they do.
Whatever. Yeah.
It's like, ugh. But remember I talked about Chiron coming into a conjunction? It's forming right now. So your Chiron, your transiting Chiron is going to actually conjunct or be like right on top of your natal Chiron. And
Hmm.
that's going to happen exactly on October 26th of this year.
Okay. Is
So,
that good or bad?
so it's a good thing. It's a Chiron return,
Hmm.
but it means change. So we'll put it that way. And typically, when you have more harder aspects like conjunctions, oppositions, squares, you really feel those. And so with Chiron transiting your natal Chiron in your natal house in the first house, it's going to feel like some things are going to start changing. And you already had stuff with your career, and then
Mm-hmm.
Saturn's like going crazy now, like, hey, get it together. Um, it is going to really help you to manage your energy. Like,
Okay.
I cannot recommend that enough. Like tapping, hitting the neural reset points, doing like these exercises where you can just kind of like reset your energy, reset that
Mm-hmm.
forebrain blood flow, just do anything you can to keep your energy in alignment, because even it's really simple exercise. If you just grab like your right shoulder and then pull it across your body, then your left shoulder, pull it across your body, this will actually rebalance your energies.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, just something as simple as that can ground you really quickly.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That was great. Oh my God, that's good information.
Hey. Yeah, because I know what you're going through. Chiron's in my first house too. So I've been
So
doing
we
a
have
lot.
similar charts. So yeah,
We
like you said,
do.
we're here to do the similar things. That is why we met. That is
I
why we met.
Oh my gosh, it was just such a coincidence because you're just like, oh, I'm here. Like, hey.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for this, DeVera. This has been amazing and so much fun.
It has.
Yeah. And
Thank
if
you.
anybody wants to reach out to you, I'm going to tell me what your website is so I can put it up right now on the screen.
Oh, perfect. So it is www
Uh-huh.
dot, and I'll give you my general website so you can get to
Okay.
it. So it's msha dot ke
Mm-hmm.
/ DeVera Henderson.
Okay. .com or no?
No, yeah, that's just how it is. It's a milkshake website.
Okay.
So yeah,
Is that correct?
yeah, that's right.
Okay. So if anybody wants to reach out to DeVera for astrological readings, that is where you can reach out to her. And also, DeVera and I, we host a clubhouse room every Fridays at 8 o'clock
Yep,
where
yep.
she does her thing with her charts and I sling the cards, and
Yes,
it's
yes.
all great energy. So if you're on Clubhouse,
Join us.
check us out, check her out, follow me. And we have, here's my Club White Warriors Lounge. So follow that club on Clubhouse, and we're there every Friday at 8 o'clock. Okay.
Eastern Standard.
Yeah, Eastern Standard. That's important. Oh my goodness. Yes, that's so
Yes.
important. So, yeah, thank you for coming by, and thank you for doing this for everyone here and myself as well, DeVera. Thank you. And we're up on an hour now, so I'm gonna leave it here, and I'm gonna say thank you for everyone for watching and listening. Do you have any final thoughts, or are you good?
I just wanted to say thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. Oh
It
my
was fun.
gosh.
We should do this in another couple of months.
We really should. This is amazing
Mhm.
because, especially with the new transits coming up, hopefully Chiron will just be out of the first house.
Yeah.
But
All right,
yes.
girl. Thank you so much again for coming by. And everyone, well, I'll see you again in the next episode. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.